Please remember, while Fuller House is a family show, the Fullest House podcast is not. Therefore, listener discretion is advised. Welcome to the Fullest House podcast, where Zach is going to show off his ventriloquism skills.
That's right, everybody. I'm here, and I've, quarantine's been very long for all of us, so I decided I would take up the art of ventriloquism. So I'd like to show that off here today. I brought my puppet here. His name's Giuseppe. Say hi to the people, Giuseppe.
Hi, everybody. It's me, Giuseppe.
Please note, Zach and Giuseppe, the ventriloquist dummy, speak over one another at certain points during this bit. This is not a mistake on the part of the hosts and or editor of the Fullest House podcast. Zach is just that good of a ventriloquist.
Oh my god, I can't even see his lips moving through the audio.
Yeah, your lips aren't moving at all.
I've gotten really good at it.
I love being on the podcast.
So, Giuseppe, what did you think about this episode of Fuller House?
I thought it was great. I think everything's great. I'm a puppet.
Whoa.
Zach, weird to have your ventriloquist. That's not usually something people do, have your ventriloquist.
Well, I wanted to, do like a little subversion of expectations where, like, the puppet is self-aware.
Yeah, we have a really smart act. It's very meta.
Yes.
It's really about the nature of art and the relationship of art to the artist.
Giuseppe, you always have such valuable comments.
We do, like, a whole, half-hour set on the duality of man.
I fully read the entirety of Roland Barthes' essay, Death of the Author.
Exactly. Look, we're very intellectual.
Death of the Author.
Zach, I have to tell you, this ventriloquism act sounds very boring.
It also sounds a lot like Mark.
What's up with you? Get out of here with that shit.
Well, Giuseppe, calm down. It's okay. He just doesn't understand.
Sorry.
He doesn't understand our art. The art that we're making together.
I'm very sorry, Giuseppe. I love your very Mark Greene sounding puppet imitation.
Well,
voice.
that's the thing is, like, I've known Mark for so many years, and we've done the podcast together that I've done a very good I can almost parrot his voice back and his like vocal tones and stuff. But I had to make it like a little bit higher pitched because it's a puppet. You got to make it like a little bit more.
Art imitating life. Yes.
Exactly.
You do a very good impression of me doing a voice.
Thank you. Say thank you, Giuseppe.
Thank you. I still haven't forgiven you for what you said about my art.
Well,
Giuseppe,
for one, I love your comments on art and criticism.
See, at least Harrison understands where we're going with this. Harrison, once Giuseppe and I take off, we're gonna give you front row seats. Mark, we'll talk about it later.
I was going to say not to cut off you and Giuseppe, but do we want to introduce ourselves?
Yeah,
Yes,
I'm
I'm Harrison
run its
Bloom.
course. I'm Zach Horowitz.
And I'm Mark Greene.
And the reason
Giuseppe.
we brought... Oh, sorry, Giuseppe. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Zach, I think you have
Giuseppe's
to
gonna
put
be
the
here
puppet
the
away.
entire episode.
Well, the reason we brought Giuseppe on is because there's a special appearance by a puppet towards the end of this episode, which isn't really a major plot point, but it is one of the best parts of the episode.
Yeah.
Yes.
There are a lot of special appearances in this episode that we will get into.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of,
Yeah.
I wanted there are 2 celebrity guest stars. I wanted there to be 3.
Yeah,
Just
it's
to
just like a
round it
nice
out.
round number.
But there are, if you count our good puppet, there kind of are 3 guest stars.
Does the puppet count as a guest star? Let us
right.
know in
I'm
the
gonna
comment section below this video.
Yeah.
Make sure to smash that like button.
Hey, everybody, like and
This
subscribe.
video, they're definitely watching this on YouTube.
Yeah, we have a
Account that
YouTube
has
channel.
3 subscribers.
We don't promote it, but
Yeah.
Guys, DJ, Stephanie, and Kimmy are looking at wedding dresses.
oh boy.
That's
Yeah.
how this episode starts.
I almost forgot that's what they were doing.
Yeah. This episode takes such a weird turn from DJ, Steph, and Kimmy looking at wedding dresses.
This is not a bad episode. It is sort of one of those Funhouse mirror episodes where it's like a normal sitcom looked into a warped mirror and this is what we got.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a good description for like most
Yes.
of Fuller House.
Yeah.
So they're looking at wedding dresses and DJ is like, "Oh, I'm so happy you're getting married, Steph. This is so exciting." And then they're like, "Kimmy, you're also engaged to Fernando."
Yeah.
And everybody in the scene and also the audience has to go, that's right, they're not married.
Yeah.
they're
not
still
married,
engaged.
They're engaged.
They've been engaged for like 3 seasons.
Oh yeah, it's
They're both
been that way since
divorced
like
and
end of
engaged.
season 1 or whatever that was, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So DJ suggests, she doesn't suggest anything, but she says, isn't it weird that Fernando got to date so many people while he was single and you had to raise Ramona and never got a chance to meet other men? And Kimmy says, you're right. I should test the waters by going on a bunch of speed dates.
Yeah. And you'd think DJ would go like, oh, no, that's not what I was saying. And Kimmy's like, no, I should do this. You're right, DJ. Instead, DJ, I think DJ's kind of like on board with it. Yeah.
No, she says that.
She says that?
No,
Because I thought
Stephanie
she
was on board with it.
Yeah,
DJ was
Stephanie
the one
was-
who
Yeah,
said
that's
it.
what it was. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, DJ was the one saying, I didn't tell you to do that. Why are you saying I told you to do that? Don't do that.
Because I remembered one of them saying like, you know what, Kimmy, that's a good idea. You are entitled to date while you're engaged. And I remember thinking, this is bad. This is bad advice.
Well, I mean, if you have that bad advice, which character do you think would be more likely to say that? DJ or Steph?
DJ's a little
who,
crazy.
Yeah.
as is well known, is a mess.
But see, DJ's a little crazy and Steph is a mess, but also sometimes she's more of the sane one.
That's fair.
Yeah. Yeah, she doesn't manage her own life well, but her advice is never like batshit.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
they're both blonde, so
I mean,
it's an easy mistake to make.
It's oh yeah, you can't tell them apart.
Yeah, no, they look exactly the same.
Yeah, because they're
They have this-
sisters. They
yeah.
share a lot of the same DNA.
Yes.
What is fiction?
Yeah.
I guess you have to listen to our ventriloquism act where we beg the question, what is fiction and what is reality?
See, Giuseppe understands.
Giuseppe asking the real questions on this
Yeah.
podcast. This is now becoming an intellectual podcast.
Yep.
Yeah, you thought you were gonna get this little comedic Fuller House thing, but nah. Giuseppe and I we're bringing a more refined side to the podcast. Isn't that right, Giuseppe?
Very right, very true.
So anyway,
Just a couple of other things that I think are important about this scene. We've covered most of the scene, or the important beats of Kimmy's now going to go on a bunch of dates, and it's not a very good idea.
Yes.
One, Kimmy's childhood crush was Kirk Cameron,
Yes.
which I get it.
she still has a poster of him on the wall after
Yep.
all these years.
Yep, and DJ's like, I don't get the appeal, and I'm like, I get it.
Well, Mark, did you know on IMDb trivia that DJ says she never understood the big deal about Kirk Cameron, and Kirk Cameron is Candace Cameron Bure, who plays DJ, in case you weren't already aware. It's her brother, Kirk Cameron Bure.
Oh, now I
just
get
Kirk
it. I
Cameron.
thought I got it in a different way, but that illuminates all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, in my notes, I wrote had a poster of Kirk Cameron, and then I crossed it out and wrote has a poster of Kirk Cameron above her bed.
Yes.
Also, small detail, but maybe important. Steph maybe dated Daniel Radcliffe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's like
you're
a big, yeah.
Yeah. She has a line where she's like, all these English guys I dated over in England, an English accent doesn't mean you're smart. And then she like looks to the side and goes, Daniel Radcliffe.
Which, like, I don't know why you had to just go after Daniel
Yeah.
Radcliffe like that, but I see how
Either
it is.
she's randomly going after Daniel Radcliffe or she totally dated Daniel Radcliffe and was like, this is a dummy.
Yeah, but we love a dummy, and we love Daniel Radcliffe.
We love
Yeah.
a dummy. He seems very nice in every interview I've ever seen him in.
Yeah,
Yeah. Also, she's not exactly dating a genius.
Daniel Radcliffe
That's
deserves
true.
better. Yeah, that's true.
Is Daniel Radcliffe... Oh, wait. Jimmy Gibbler isn't a genius?
Are
you
are
saying that Jimmy
Steph's
Gibbler is a bit
standards-
dim?
Are Steph's standards for intelligence so low? After
Much like
being
Daniel
in
Radcliffe,
England,
he is a
that
bit of a
she's just
savant.
like settling for Jimmy Gibbler.
Yeah, or like, if she's engaged to Jimmy Gibbler and she's like, that Daniel Radcliffe is a bit of a dummy, how dumb is Daniel Radcliffe?
Yeah,
God,
like
you're
that's a
right.
good question.
Yeah.
Is it possible to be dumber than Jimmy Gibbler, who we love with all our hearts.
We love Jimmy Gibbler.
He is the nicest, sweetest boy.
He's a our good, sweet himbo boy.
He's our good, sweet himbo boy. But it begs the question, are you smarter than a Daniel Radcliffe, America's new favorite game show?
America's new favorite game
God.
show, indeed. Yep.
Those were the things I wanted to point out. Anyway, Rocky is over. Guys, Rocky's in this episode. It's been a while.
Yeah, Rocky.
I was excited.
She got back with J Money.
Our good girl Rocky is here.
She's not really in it very much, but she's here.
But that's better than her not being here.
And it is my
That's
favorite subplot of the episode. So.
That's
It's a
true.
pretty good subplot where Rocky is just there with J Money, and there's a knock on the door.
Yeah.
And
Well,
someone
she's
says-
there because they're going to introduce her to Ramona's new boyfriend, Ethan.
Right.
Yeah. Which immediately made me say, oh, double date? But no, not really. Apparently they're just going to hang out.
But then there's the doorbell, and someone says it's always open. And no, it's not who you think, because Rocky said it, and she's slowly being integrated into the cult that is this family.
And she's horrified
Yes.
again.
She's horrified at the consequences of her own actions.
Yeah.
She's losing herself to the collective.
Oh,
Yes, and then Ethan comes in, and things start to get kind of awkward between Rocky and Ethan. It's kind of
Weird, a
awkward.
little awkward.
they see each other and say, hey! And then collectively agree to deny that they know each other, even though they clearly do.
Yeah.
They're like, do you guys know each other? And they go, no.
No.
Never.
It made
What
me
is-
immediately say, being a genre-savvy person with a brain, oh, they probably dated. But no, this subverted my expectations.
It is true. They do pull a fast one on us at the end.
Yeah. Yeah. I wrote they dated, but deny it in my notes.
Yeah.
Though I will say, as the episode went on and we're not dealing with it and they keep denying it, I'm like, oh, it's definitely not that they dated. It has to be something else.
Yeah.
Because if it was so obvious, they wouldn't be saving it as a reveal.
That's true.
Right. That is admittedly a much smarter point about the show than I expected.
Yeah,
of
the
course they
show-
weren't going to be dating because that's too obvious.
Yeah, like, I mean,
Yeah,
look, we shit on the show a lot, but there are times when it can do some good stuff. Like, this was pretty good.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
enjoyed this
I don't deny
subplot.
that at all. It didn't.
Yeah.
I am very much used to like sitcoms that skew younger having absolutely dog shit romance subplots.
Yeah.
And it always
yeah.
surprises me that the kid romance subplots are pretty good. So
Yeah.
in this show,
Better than the adult ones.
Yeah, better than the
Exactly.
adult ones,
But yeah, it was because if it had been like, oh, they know each other, but they won't say how, and then like a scene or two scenes later, they find out, oh, they dated, and then the plot becomes about interrogating and confronting that fact.
Yeah.
That would be one thing. But the fact that they kept saving it and the plot was about how do they know each other, it was like, oh, they definitely didn't date. It's something else.
Yeah, that's fair. But, you know, it's really awkward, and J Money and Ramona are like, hey, we need to figure out how they know each other. We gotta go to the best detective we know.
Well,
this small
also
child.
very important, Ramona's like, oh, it's like they have some secret past that we don't know about. And J Money goes, or they have some secret past that we don't know about.
Oh, wait. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to
it's-
mention the best line when Ethan comes in as well. How stupid of
Oh,
me.
right.
Oh, right. Oh my god.
Because Ethan comes in and J Money answers the door, and Ethan's like, oh, hey, J Money, how are you? And he's like, I've been great. I've been thinking about the silent B in the word thumb.
Yeah, he literally says, oh, hey, what's up, Jackson? Oh, you know, just thinking about how the B in thumb is silent.
Like meditating on that fact. Like, why is the
And like
B
Ethan
in
goes
thumb
like,
silent?
you're a weird person, J Money.
That line reminded me so much of like that one line in Community where like the group is having like a fight, or like they're fighting about something else, something's going on, and someone's like, does anyone else have anything to say? And then Troy goes, yeah, did you know Go-Gurt is just yogurt? It was the same exact energy, same exact vibes. I'm here for it. Like
Maybe
J
that's why we
Money,
love J Money.
maybe that's why. It's because J Money gives off Troy Barnes vibes.
Yes.
We love a dummy.
We love a dummy.
We love a dummy. The dummy in any show almost immediately becomes my favorite character.
Oh yeah. But yeah.
Been watching Happy Endings. Alex is low-key my favorite character because she's just so dumb. Anyway.
But yes,
watch Happy Endings, I guess.
Going back to where we were in the story, because it's very important. We had to go back for that. It's a very important line. Yeah. But they're like, how do they know each other? We gotta figure out their secret past. So they go to the smartest person they know, the small child.
Yep.
Max.
Who's the smartest person we know? This 11-year-old.
Yep. And so Max is like, I can figure it out for you, but first I need to assemble an ultimate team of detectives. And then it cuts to the room again, where Max and now Steve and Tommy are wearing matching trench coats.
Yep. Which, can I just say, like, most of the rest of this plot is about Steve and Max. Tommy doesn't help at all.
Yeah, Tommy doesn't show up for the rest of the episode.
Yeah, what? Like, he's part of the team as Max introduces them, and then he doesn't show up at all for the rest of the episode. Like, you're part of this crime-solving team, and you're not gonna help out.
He's like that one kid in the group project who like doesn't show up to any of the group meetings, but still gets the A.
Isn't that the behavior of a bad baby?
Ooh.
He's being a pretty bad baby.
He's a bad baby.
I had a different thought, though.
Yeah.
What if DJ took Max aside and said, listen, Max, you need to start including your brother in things. And Max says, no, Mom, that's a dumb idea.
Could you imagine if it was also like, you need to include your brother in things, and also I want you to get really close to Steve because we're dating.
You need to start including your brother in things. The audience is forgetting that he exists.
Yeah.
So we got to bring him up more. I know he doesn't have the charisma of Michelle.
Do you think that the reason they don't include Tommy is because they made Michelle like this huge character on the original Full House and didn't come back? She didn't come back for Full House. So they're just afraid that these small children who played Tommy are just going to get really famous and not want to come back for Fullest House.
I mean, I think the real answer, and again, I know I joke a lot about how Tommy doesn't have as much charisma as Michelle, but I think the real answer is that the Olsen twins genuinely had a lot of charisma as Michelle.
Yeah.
Wait,
There's a reason they became Michelle became the breakout character, and it's hard to replicate that, so they just pretend Tommy doesn't exist.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do hope it's that they're like, well, fuck, the last set of twins playing a child got too big for their britches. We're not gonna make the same mistake twice.
Yeah. This is just a theory I've had circulating in my head since like season 2.
Just sabotaging this child's career.
Yeah, these small children. But anyways, so yeah, they come in. The entire time in this subplot, Steve is there in his trench coat and he's like, why am I here? Why am I doing this?
Yeah. He immediately shows up and says like, wait, crime solving squad? Why did you invite me over?
Yeah. Well, it's also like a hard cut from one scene to like all of a sudden Steve and Tommy are here.
Yeah.
So I'd like to imagine in my head, canon, Max just summoned Steve from wherever he was.
Yeah.
He was in the middle performing like, some podiatry stuff. And then all of a sudden he's just in this room with Max.
He gets a text from Max and he's like, I've got to drop everything.
Yeah.
My girlfriend's son needs me for a bit.
Well, he does say at the end of the episode, he's like, I don't know why I took the day off of work to do this.
He did take off of work, but I like your theory that he was in the middle of a case. He was talking with a patient.
And then,
all right,
and was
intern,
like, I
good
have
luck
to
finishing
go.
this
Oh,
foot
not even
surgery.
that. Not even that. Max just like summons him. He just like teleports mid-sentence.
He just stuck the intern in the middle of the surgery. Like, good luck, you're finishing this now.
Yeah.
I can't tell if I like more the idea that Steve is just randomly there and is like, what happened? Or the idea that Steve gets a call and he's like, it's urgent, I have to go, you take care of this
I must
surgery.
go. This small child needs me.
This small child needs me for something. I don't know what
To
it is.
solve a crime.
We have to solve a crime. That is true. They do solve a mystery, which is my favorite activity for people to be doing.
So this brings up the question: is this our spinoff for the episode?
Ooh.
Because
We
it's
haven't done that in a while.
already there for us. They're already going to be solving crimes.
Max and Steve as a ragtag crime-solving duo. They are PIs. They get a little office.
It originally starts as like a trio because Tommy's there too, but then like at the end of season 1 he gets killed off.
Yeah. You just don't want to have to deal with his ego anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
In the middle of season 3 of the spinoff, they realize that they're actually split personalities of Columbo fused apart by magic, and then it just becomes Columbo.
He said just one more thing, and then he split into one more thing.
You know, this show is really breaking new ground because it's a spinoff of 2 shows.
Yeah. It's about Fuller House, but also it brings up the very real fact that Columbo reproduces by mitosis.
Yes.
I remember we were watching the episode, we also had the spin-off of Columbo in daycare, basically just Match solves daycare crimes, like who stole the markers, or which teacher is having sex with the principal. We have to find out.
I'd like to imagine that those 2 episodes are back-to-back.
Murder.
I want it to be the full tone and plot structure of Columbo, but set in a preschool.
See, I was imagining along the lines of, like, you know how a lot of those shows we watched when we were younger, like SpongeBob and those cartoons, had like 2 smaller episodes that would fill up the 30-minute time slot. It's like that, but the back-to-back episodes that are together are like, who stole the marker? And also, which teacher is fucking the principal?
That's funny. You said that it couldn't have been you because you're allergic to peanuts. That's funny because the other day at lunchtime, you were eating a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. So, what's the truth?
Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful.
You were at the nut-free table, but the other night.
Yeah. That's, listen.
You know, my wife, Mrs. Columbo Jr.
I'm telling you, TV execs, if you're watching this podcast, we've given you gold time and time again. Hit us up.
It writes itself.
Yeah.
Hit us up. Columbo Jr. on CBS this fall.
Yep.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Played by the guy who plays Max and Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
Played by Max and Rose.
Yes.
Yeah.
Max and Rose. Columbo and Columbo, Mrs. Columbo Jr.
Columbo and Mrs. Columbo.
Yeah.
There's like a whole wedding episode in the middle of like their 5th grade class.
And then they can't get married because, of course, they are like...
They can't get married because they're legally underage.
Yeah.
Well, no, they have one of those, like in elementary school, they have a fake wedding and they're like, we're married. At recess, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
right.
Stephanie
I can deal with that.
And her husband, Harry.
Yes, exactly.
Her husband.
Anyway,
yeah.
Guys, the vet clinic.
Yes.
DJ and Matt are there.
Yes.
Doing their job for, I think, the first time in a while.
Yes. But then they hear
suddenly,
some weird singing coming from outside.
A mellifluous voice.
Yeah.
Melodious voice.
A pop star not a pop star, an alt singer who I definitely know.
Yeah.
Who should it be but singer-songwriter Lisa Loeb?
Remember Lisa Loeb?
Who I definitely know about because I don't live under a rock and absolutely understood every reference about her work featured in this episode.
I have seen her picture and I knew her name, and when she showed up I did think, like, is that Lisa Loeb? But I don't know enough about Lisa Loeb to make the guess.
Yeah.
So I did wait until they said her name.
Okay.
It's definitely meant for the adults in the audience.
Yeah.
Adults.
Which again begs the question, like, who is this show for?
That's true. Good question.
That's true, because we almost said it's for us. It's for us to watch and make a podcast about. That's why they made the show.
And yet they brought in Lisa Loeb.
Who we have no... Who was, let's just say, very good in this episode.
Yes, she's very good.
Great.
Like, Lisa Loeb's got 3 new fans.
One of my favorite guest stars. She was really good.
Yeah, I mean, listen, to me, every guest star on this show will forever be compared to Lonzo Ball's legendary performance.
Zach, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Was his performance legendary,
Yes!
or was Lonzo Ball in the show?
No, his performance was amazing.
I remember
Or
being
They put
Was
him in
he
the
in
show
the show?
just to dunk on him.
Okay. I will be the compromise here. I do remember his performance being pretty good. We had good things to say about it. But also,
Okay.
Zach, do you think maybe your high opinion of him is perhaps influenced by the fact that you're a fan of the NBA?
I'm not a fan of the NBA.
You talk about sports. You're basically a fan of the NBA.
But
Okay.
I just want to point out that when I asked this question, you said he was in the episode and they made jokes about him. His performance was great.
Okay. Listen. I'm
I
feeling
don't
attacked.
mean to
Listen,
it was a while ago. I don't remember.
Listen,
I'm almost legitimately asking.
You guys are attacking me at this point, and I don't feel like I should be, I feel like I'm going to have to
attacked
be
Mark
2-on-2,
too.
like
What are
you
you
two versus
talking
me and
about?
Giuseppe. Giuseppe, how do you
I
feel
thought
about
he
this?
had a really nuanced, subtle performance.
Thank you.
You know, very naturalistic actor. Probably, he probably went really method for it.
See, I think you
Lonzo
guys should
Ball
listen to the
playing Lonzo
puppet.
Ball. That probably was pretty easy.
Yeah. Yeah, it was very easy to get in character. Yeah, Giuseppe, I don't know what you mean he was method. He played himself.
Listen.
Yeah, I mean, he lived as Lonzo Ball for his entire life, preparing for this performance.
That's what I'm saying.
You're right, Zach. I'm sorry. He was very good in the episode. I just really what it is that I said, oh, Lisa Loeb was very good in this. And when she was maybe my favorite guest star performance. And I thought everybody was going to go like, oh, but what about the New Kids on the Block? And I'm like, oh, right. They were very good. But instead you said, but Lonzo Ball. And I was like, I forgot he was in the show.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's hard to keep track of all the guest stars in the show.
That's true.
I also think that the 70s actors that made that appearance were really good.
Macy
But-
Gray. Macy Gray,
Macy
the only one to
Gray?
win Sad Boy of the Week.
Yeah.
The 70s actors, Macy Gray, Josh Peck was in it, not playing himself, but
right,
he was
yeah.
in it.
The Horny Boys, the Horny Dancer
The
Boys.
Horny
Horny
Dancer
Dancer
Boys, the New Kids on the Block. There were a lot of great guest stars. There was the baseball player.
Yeah.
Whose name
Hunter
I forget.
Pence.
Hunter Pence. But Lonzo Ball was legitimately the only one of these guest stars, unless there are more we're not naming, who I fully
Sexy
forgot
Zone.
was in the show.
Oh, Marius
Sexy
Yo of
Zone.
the
Marius Yo of
Japanese boy
band
band
Sexy
Sexy
Zone.
Who is mentioned in this episode?
It was meant
Yes. Rocky was like, you dated that guy from Menudo, right? And Ramona's like, no, from Sexy Zone. I wish it was Menudo.
to be. She's not a big fan of Sexy Zone anymore.
Yeah,
I wonder
yeah.
why.
Yeah, something happened. I mean,
Ramona,
I know your heart was broken, but you can still enjoy the music.
Chad Brad Bradley, who went on to star in a movie with Addison Rae.
Yeah.
Oh God. Yeah.
He is all
right.
that.
He is.
We have to say he
He
is.
went
all
on to
that.
become all that.
Yep. He's all that in this show, and then also he went into another movie where he became all that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, where were we? Lisa Loeb is here.
Lisa
She's
Loeb
playing
is here.
guitar for no reason.
Yeah.
Or no, she says my cat gets nervous before
He's
an
like, my
appointment.
cat gets nervous before I go to the vet, so I sing to calm her down.
Yeah.
And so Matt is starstruck at Lisa
Yes.
Loeb, and he's like, I'm gonna go give your cat his shots right now. And
Yep.
DJ's like, hey, Steph. She calls Steph. She's like, hey, Steph. Lisa
Steph
Loeb
ignores
is here.
DJ's call for a while.
Yes. But then she's like, hey,
Important.
Steph, Lisa Loeb is here. And Steph's like, oh my God, I need to perform for Lisa Loeb.
I couldn't, after this point, I just kept cringing because it kept feeling like I was running up to Jerry Seinfeld and saying, hello, read my spec script.
Jerry Seinfeld, read my
It's-
spec
yeah.
script, Jerry Seinfeld.
Yeah, it was like, oh, I'm sure Lisa Loeb's gonna love this, Steph, and it's gonna work out great. There's
Yeah.
nothing professional entertainers love more than someone saying, hey, but look at what I can do.
Yeah.
Then again, though,
You can help my career.
they
Yes.
don't acknowledge this, but as the show has seemingly forgotten, Steph is a famous DJ, so it does make a little more sense.
Exactly.
The show
that she would
forgot
network
about
with other
that.
celebrities.
The show forgot about that maybe 5 episodes in.
They sort of come close to bringing it up in this episode when Steph is like, when I was living in England, because she was abroad as a famous DJ.
Yeah.
But they just forget that she's actually a famous musician who I think it was established knows some famous artists.
yeah.
Why is she having so much trouble networking when she's a famous person?
Yep. Well, she needs that Lisa Loeb bump.
I guess so.
Yeah.
I think it's also important to note DJ first says to her, guess who's here? And Steph says, oh, is it that guy in the gorilla suit who keeps coming wanting you to examine him?
Which, there's a lot to take in with that line alone.
There's a lot to unpack there. Maybe he just identifies as a gorilla. maybe there's like a drug smuggling ring at the zoo and he's deep undercover, like a 21 Jump Street type thing, but with gorillas. That's
he's investigating the vet.
That's a spin-off.
That's another spin-off for you.
21 Jump Street, but gorilla.
Gorilla Jump Street.
Yes, 21 Gorilla
Let's
Street.
marry the two ideas. Does he identify as a gorilla, or is he undercover, or is he both? Is he an undercover person using the fact that he identifies
an undercover
as a gorilla?
man.
He never could express his true self until he got this assignment.
Yes.
That's how the movie
It's like
ends.
Avatar. It's like the movie Avatar.
Yeah.
That's the plot of
the greatest
Avatar,
movie
right?
no one cares about.
Is it? I don't know the plot of the movie Avatar, and I've seen the movie Avatar.
Oh my god.
In the process of pretending to be a gorilla for these ulterior motives, he falls in love with another gorilla and truly finds himself.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
oh my god.
look, okay, maybe those are two different spin-offs.
Yeah.
It's
Alright,
Dances with Wolves meets 21 Jump Street.
Yep.
But yeah, anyway, Steph's like, I need to go over and sing to Lisa Loeb right away. And DJ's like, oh, but she's leaving. What if you came back and we, like, cleaned your cat's teeth for free with this new promotion I'm making up, like, right now? You come back tomorrow.
Yeah.
Lisa Loeb.
And Lisa Loeb's like, sounds great. I'll be back tomorrow. Hopefully no one ambushes me and sings at me.
She doesn't
That's
actually
great.
say that, but that would have been hilarious.
No, she fully says that.
Yeah.
In those exact words.
Listen, if there's one thing about this podcast, we love to relay the exact lines that characters say and not change them
Yeah.
at all for comedic purposes.
Whenever we say a character says this, we are always quoting verbatim.
100% real quote, nothing from us. Yeah.
Anyway, new scene. Guys, Fernando shaved.
Dun dun dun.
It's not the point of the scene, but it's part
They
of
do
it.
acknowledge
They
it.
do acknowledge that he shaved. But Kimmy's like,
Yeah.
anyways, Fernando, I need to see other men. And
And
Fernando's
he's like, is that because I shaved without
"No."
consulting you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, it's nothing like that. I'm just not sure I really love you.
Jesus Christ.
Damn.
That's part of it. She said, like,
Yeah.
like that's why Steph is like, oh, this is a good idea, because she's like, if you're not 100% certain that you want to be with Fernando for the rest of your life, you shouldn't marry him.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like, Fernando, I don't want to hurt your feelings. I'm just not sure I truly love you, and I need to date other people to find out.
Gosh.
Fair enough.
Fernando plays it very cool. He's like, yep, I'm good with this. Hey, Fernando can handle it. You deserve it. Fernando's all good. Fernando is not worried. And then she leaves and he says, Fernando's a little bit worried.
Oh. Yeah, which I
Yeah.
get.
Yep.
I mean, they never
Yeah.
say this explicitly, but I'm sure one of the underlying motivations is, yeah, I cheated on her for many years.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
Her
really have a
saying-
leg to stand on.
she actually
Yeah.
at least asked if she could see other people for
Yeah,
a bit.
look, if you're gonna cheat on your partner, at least ask them if they're okay with it.
Yeah.
It's
Hey,
common
hey.
courtesy.
Yeah. Fernando
Yeah.
does have a right to say, like, actually, I am sort of uncomfortable with
Yeah.
this. We are engaged and I love you very much. We've established
Yeah,
that.
but
Yeah.
what I'm saying is I
But
could see
no,
him,
I
like,
totally know.
I can
Yeah,
see
yeah.
him like grappling with the weight of
yeah.
his past decisions.
I think that is something that's behind all of this. I think you're absolutely right. I like that Fernando plays it really cool
Yeah.
and is internally like, I am a mess.
So, yeah,
Detective work we
Detective.
come to.
where they go to Uncle Monty's because they didn't
Yeah.
want to pay for another set.
Yeah.
Max and Steve go to Uncle Monty's, a restaurant Steve owns.
Yeah.
Which it is weird that they followed Ethan to Uncle Monty's for some reason, but they actually do make use of the fact that Ethan's is a Postmate driver.
Yeah,
Like,
I was
he's
gonna
getting
say,
Postmate
right,
back.
yeah. I didn't know. I didn't think about that
appreciated
until like
attention to
right
detail.
until we started this scene. I was like, oh yeah, it makes sense for Ethan to be here because he's like he's a food delivery boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's in one of those awkward door dashing experiences that I've had many times where you arrive and even though it says that the order is prepared, you still have to wait there 15 minutes, awkwardly leaning against the desk, just waiting.
Yeah, I mean, it's really annoying when like a little kid wearing a trench coat comes up to you and is like, "What do you know? Tell me your information."
Tell me about Rocky.
Every time I did it.
Yeah, how many times has that happened to you, Harrison?
At least 7.
At least.
Max and Steve are wearing trench coats because they are detectives.
Yeah.
Max tells Steve that he's going to approach the suspect, but Steve needs to stand guard in case he tries to make a run for it. And Steve's like, how about instead of that, you can talk to him and I'm going to go get a sandwich.
Yeah.
Also, Max denies that he knows what Columbo is, which does not ring true to me at all.
Yeah. Every child knows Columbo.
Oh yeah.
Everyone knows Columbo.
Right. No.
Yeah.
Don't even be sarcastic about this. Max watches Blue Bloods and like telenovelas with Fernando. He has definitely seen Columbo.
Here's the thing. I think it would be totally in character for him to be a fan of Columbo, but I don't think it's out of character that as a child he doesn't know what Columbo is.
Okay, fair enough.
That's what I think it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, Steve is like, mentions Columbo and Kojak, and Max is like, I don't know what those things are.
You're just making up words.
Also your trench coat sucks and is ratty.
Yeah, like
wasn't he keeping mocking the trench coat?
It's the same trench coat.
It's the same exact coat.
Same trench coat, but he keeps saying like your ratty old disgusting trench coat, and Steve is like, "Hey,
this is my favorite
coat today."
What? Yeah, why are you being so mean to me?
Yeah, that's like a running theme in this episode that Steve gets bullied by a small child.
Yeah, but because Max questions Ethan, he's like, "How do you know Rocky?" And Ethan's like, Rocky, I don't know her. I just met her today. Anyway, order's ready. I gotta go. And then he leaves. And Steve's like, well, that was a lie. And Max is like, yep, definitely a lie. Which part, though, was the lie?
Steve is like, I'd imagine like the dynamic is like Max is the one who's like, he's the young, new detective, super passionate, up and coming guy. And Steve's like the guy who's 5 days away from retirement.
See, I think the dynamic is more Max is Shaggy, just going into situations but not really helping at all. Yeah. And Steve is Velma, doing all the work.
Yes. Yeah. That's more so what I was getting at, but I think your analogy was better.
Like Zoinks.
Keep that in mind for later.
For as much as Max like mocks Steve and is like, you're a real piece of shit, Steve. And Steve's like, why are you being so mean to me? You're a child. Steve is doing most of the work.
Yeah.
To be fair, this is like the only scene in which there's any detective work.
That's true. It's not really much detective work either. They just ask him a question point blank.
They just ask him a question.
Like, I guess he was lying and we should figure out what he was lying about.
They're like, ask him a question and he's very clearly lying. And Max does not understand that he's very clearly lying.
Correct me if I'm wrong. We'll talk about this later, but do they ever explain how Max puts together the answer to the mystery?
No, they do not.
They solve it off screen.
He just knows.
They solve it off screen and then never explain how it happened.
Yep.
Right?
That's why I find it so funny, because the extent of their detective work is wearing trench coats.
Yeah. Wearing trench coats and asking one of the suspects one question. Like they never talk to Rocky.
It's like if they went up to... That's true. It's like if they went up to a murder suspect, or not even a suspect, like one witness to a murder, and were like, who killed him? And they're like, I don't know. And they're like, well, this is such a riddle.
Well, it appears we've reached a dead end.
Yeah. Or no, it is like they went up to a murder suspect and were like, did you kill him? And he's like, no. And it's like, well...
I know he was lying, but... About
where do we go from here?
Yeah.
Well, but Max fully didn't realize he was lying.
Yeah.
Only Steve did, which is why they're such great partners.
Exactly. But yeah.
The chief isn't going to be happy about this.
We then cut to Kimmy's dating experiences.
Well, just
Right.
one more thing that I wanted to mention, which is that Steve comes up to Max with a sandwich.
Yes.
Max takes a bite and goes, ew, mustard, and throws it out. Why did you get me a sandwich with mustard? And Steve goes, because it was my sandwich.
Steve just is not having a good day.
Steve's just taking L's all day.
Steve's is taking a lot of L's this episode, and it's great.
But he's great.
Yeah.
But yeah, then we go on to Kimmy's dating.
Yep.
So as I was saying earlier, she's going about this in the weirdest possible way. When most people say, I need to take some time and see other people, usually I imagine that takes at least a couple days. She has immediately found San Francisco's eligible bachelors and has lined them up in this restaurant to go on several dates.
She goes on 3 dates in like an hour.
Yeah. And so we'll run through each one by one. The first one is this like influencer dude, which like Kimmy really like roasts him hard.
Ooh.
Like, oh, so
Fuller
you,
House
like,
is coming for influencers.
So you like make money by not being talented and just posting pictures of yourself or something like that?
Yeah. He says, I'm an influencer. And she says, oh, so you don't have a job? And he's like, no, I post pictures of myself to act like I have any talent when I don't. And she's like, got it. And it's just like, ooh.
Yeah.
Got him.
And that's pretty much it for that character.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then there's a second guy who fought in the war.
He's an old man.
He's a very old man who has fought in many wars in his time.
Yep.
And then he says that she got that info not from his bio, but from his obituary.
Yeah,
which made us think, is he a ghost?
Yeah.
I so wanted him to be a ghost. I thought he was going to say,
so
that
funny.
wasn't my Tinder bio. That was my obituary. And then he just like fades away.
That would have been so good. Just Kimmy dates a ghost. So what's your favorite episode of Fuller House, little Timmy? I like the one where Kimmy Gibbler dates the ghost. And then there's a third
Unfortunately,
guy.
though, unfortunately, the obituary was printed.
Yeah, it was printed early. He's not a ghost, unfortunately. And then there's the third guy, and things are going great. Like
He's perfect.
He also understands the importance of tableside guacamole instead of pre-made guacamole, among other things, which made me think, oh, this guy's a serial killer. He's gotta be.
I was trying to figure out like what's his thing gonna be.
Yeah.
They have this moment where they both order Chardonnay and tableside guac, and they're like, I've never met anyone who likes Chardonnay and tableside guac. And I think a lot of people like Chardonnay and tableside guac. I don't think those are unpopular things. Mm-hmm. It's very reminiscent of the movie They Came Together, when they're like fiction books.
Yeah.
You like fiction books? They're my favorite kind of books.
But yeah, the date's going great until the guy gets arrested. Not for the murders, but for tax evasion.
For racketeering and security fraud.
Okay.
So a little more serious than tax fraud. Well, actually, just as serious, but different crimes.
Tax fraud.
Different crimes. I like that it was racketeering. I do like that it was something like other than just dodging taxes or tax fraud, that he's like, no, this is a full like...
This is a
criminal planning
criminal.
crimes.
Yeah. And so he gets taken away, and Kimmy's like, ugh, it's so hard to find single men in San Francisco. And then who does she run into? But TV's Kirk Cameron.
TV's own Kirk Cameron. This, I will say, this is also one of those scenes that is unnaturally split up, because in between the Kimmy dating a ghost and a mobster.
Yeah.
We go back to the vet clinic where Steph and DJ show up, and Matt's like, oh, you just missed Lisa Loeb.
Oh.
And DJ's like, how could you? And he's like, what? She showed up for cleaning and I cleaned her. And she's like, but we had this plan that you didn't know about. And then it cuts back and Kimmy meets Kirk Cameron. I just needed to point that out because
I
did not think it was in the middle of that. Why?
Yeah, that's the thing. That's what happens with this show a lot.
Why would you do that?
Just
put that
the scenes
after.
together.
And here's the thing. They cut back to Kimmy and she meets Kirk Cameron.
Yeah.
And then they cut away.
And he asks her out. He's like, I just had a terrible date. And she's like, I just had 3 terrible dates. And he's like, care for a 4th? He is immediately into Kimmy Gibbler.
Yeah. He's immediately like very into it.
Sex dot is Kimmy Gibbler.
Yeah, and then it cuts back to the vet clinic. Mm-hmm. Like, these two scenes are divided unnaturally.
Yeah. Where Steph and DJ are like, oh, it sucks that we missed Lisa Loeb. And then who should walk in but Lisa Loeb again?
Singer-songwriter Lisa Loeb?
I know, and she forgot her sunglasses.
That's true.
So, she's just going to go pick them up and, leave, like a normal person.
Stephanie is going, we missed Lisa Loeb. Maybe that's a sign that I shouldn't be doing this as a career. And then Lisa Loeb shows up and she's like, maybe this is a sign I should be doing this as a career. Lisa Loeb, sit your ass down. I'm going to play you a song.
Yeah, that's definitely what every celebrity wants to hear. This was meant to be.
Hey,
sit down.
Lisa Loeb, sit down and let me sing you a song I wrote about my baby.
Yeah, they do a very good thing where she says, this is a song I wrote for my baby daughter. Would you please hear it? And Lisa Loeb says, well, now that you mentioned your baby, I'd sure be an asshole if I didn't.
Yeah, I'm not listening to this, but okay, I guess I'm listening to this.
Yep. I love that it's not just like, well, I guess so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that it is like, well, okay.
As a little setup for later, Matt decides that he's going to get in on the action and showcase his ventriloquism abilities.
Yeah, because Matt's like, oh, we're doing a talent show for Lisa Loeb. I'll go get my puppet. And then we cut back to Kimmy's
Oliver,
date.
my ventriloquist.
Yes, and then we cut back to Kimmy's date.
No, actually.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Cut back to the big reveal of the mystery.
Oh, my apologies. The big reveal of the mystery. Max has figured out that what's going on
Max
between
and Steve
Ethan and Rocky.
He's gathered Ramona, J Money, Ethan, Rocky, and he's going to drop the bombshell. And Steve. Yeah.
Steve is there too.
For like 5 more minutes.
Steve is there too. Rocky also says, like, why is Steve wearing a ratty, dumb trench coat? And Steve's like, hey, my mom got this trench coat for me.
And Steve's like, I don't know why I took the day off work to hang out and solve crimes with these children.
He has one line, I forget exactly what it is, where he says, like, well, now I'm just a guy who no longer has a favorite coat, I guess.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, Max drops the bombshell, which, before we reveal it to our audience, did you guys have any guesses as to what their actual connection was going to be?
I was still under the assumption they were dating, so I have no clever guesses. But
I thought that Ethan was also a ventriloquist, and Rocky played the part of Ethan's dummy.
I thought maybe they did crimes together for a little bit.
Oh yeah, securities fraud and racketeering.
But it's security fraud.
They were in cahoots with that other guy.
Yeah, they were part of it, but they tried to get out, but they kept getting dragged back in.
Yeah.
So
but anyway, it's not that.
A bunch of murders.
It's not that. He reveals the true secret, which is that Ethan and Rocky used to play D&D together. Dungeons and Dragons.
Hilarious.
What?
I was so happy when I heard
it.
It
was a very good reveal. I enjoyed it. It would have been better if there was like more setup and actual detective work, but I thought the reveal was very good.
The reveal was very good. Rocky's like, you found us out. We're nerds. Are you happy? And J-Money's like, I think, yeah. Yeah,
J-Money's like, yeah, I don't mind. I think that's cool. And I think it's cool that my girlfriend has, like, a hobby. And Rocky's like, he plays too. Yeah. And
J-Money plays too and thinks,
Yeah, and he thinks it's cool. And Rocky's like, wait, you play too? You didn't tell, how come you never told me? And J-Money's like, well, I thought that you wouldn't think it was cool. And she was like, because it's not cool.
Which is why I never told you.
Yeah.
I love that she does ask, though, why didn't you tell me you play? As if to imply, we should definitely play Dungeons and Dragons together.
They are going to play Dungeons and Dragons together.
I want to see a D&D campaign with J-Money, Rocky, Ramona, and Ethan. Max would DM.
I'd like to... Couple of things. One, I'd also really like to see either Fernando or Matt DM.
Ooh.
Yes. Yeah, I'd love to see that.
We found out in our interview with Michael Campion, friend of the show,
Yes.
that he plays Dungeons and Dragons.
That's true.
I remember.
And that the
you're
writers
right.
drew a lot of J Money things from him as time went on.
That's
Do you
right.
think this came from him or was just a thing that they did?
I mean, he did say they put in a lot of stuff like from his
Yeah.
actual life,
Yeah,
so
I guess
it
so.
could be.
It's
I
possible.
imagine it. Who did Michael Champion ever say who he played? Like what like
I don't think he ever
class
told
No,
us.
he
I
what
was?
don't
his
think
character
so.
But what
Damn.
characters do you think Ethan and Rocky played?
Rocky is a barbarian.
Yes,
Ooh,
yeah,
yeah.
barbarian. Total
I feel like
barbarian.
almost undoubtedly a barbarian. I think she
Yeah.
likes to smash things.
I feel like J Money is either like a
bard.
paladin or a
Yeah.
bard.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
going to say J Money is a bard.
Yeah, he's definitely a bard. That's the way to go.
I feel like Ethan is probably like a paladin or something.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah, that makes sense.
That's better. Yeah,
Yep.
Ethan's a paladin.
But
Who
yeah,
would Ramona be? Would she be like?
I could see Ramona being like a magic user.
Being a magic user, I don't know why I went to like Ranger.
I could see
even.
Ranger.
I thought of Ranger as well. I don't know why. Like,
I think.
in the forest.
Well, I also living in the forest. I also think there's maybe the thing of Ramona is often the straight man in these stories,
Yeah.
though very neurotic. So I want her to be the Aragorn.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So J Money thinks Dungeons and Dragons is cool. He plays Dungeons and Dragons. Ramona's like, well, I'm just glad that my boyfriend has a hobby that he's passionate about. But Rocky, you are definitely a huge nerd. How dare you?
And then Rocky fires back with a sick burn about how Ramona liked the Emoji Movie,
Yeah,
which is hilarious.
Yeah.
everybody goes, and Ramona leans in and says, I told you that in confidence. And then Steve says, what's wrong with the Emoji Movie? Why is everybody being so mean to me?
Steve's having a bad day.
Yeah.
Steve's not having a good time.
Ethan also has a line where he says, like, why is this old man here who's nobody's father here? Or he says
Yeah.
something, he calls Steve an old man who's nobody's father, and Steve's
Yeah.
just like, hey. I think maybe it's after that line
I think
that
it's-
Steve's
yeah, I
like,
think it's
why
like,
did I
yeah,
take off work to spend the day with you guys?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's wonderful. And then I believe we cut back to Kimmy's date with
yeah.
Kirk Cameron.
Yeah,
it's
and
going
Kirk Cameron
great.
is like, Kirk Cameron is like fully in love with Kimmy Gibbler.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a real connection.
Yeah.
A very strange connection,
Yeah.
but it's a connection.
He says, call me. She like calls him by a character name, and he's like, call me anything except Jason Bateman.
Yeah. Fuck
Yep.
Jason Bateman.
Fuck Jason Bateman. What is he? Good Kirk Cameron? I'm just saying Kirk Cameron went on to make Saving Christmas. Jason Bateman went on to make Arrested Development.
Yeah. Didn't Kirk Cameron also do God's Not Dead? I feel like that is a big point against him in anything.
Yeah.
Ooh, maybe.
I mean, Saving Christmas is one of those. Like, it's not just like a
Yeah.
regular
But
Christmas
yeah,
movie.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's not really much else to say on the scene except that Kirk Cameron offers to take Kimmy home in his
Yeah.
Lamborghini or his backup Lamborghini. Oh no, his Ferrari.
They
It's
were
a Ferrari, not a
Ferraris,
Lamborghini.
right? Yeah.
His Ferrari and his backup Ferrari. And then I made a joke. Oh, does he have a backup Lamborghini just in case? Like, because he couldn't afford another Ferrari.
He couldn't afford another Ferrari. He could afford a Lamborghini.
3 Ferraris, that's overkill. 2 Ferraris and a Lamborghini, now you're talking.
We do then cut back to the vet clinic. Steph is still singing the song to Lisa Loeb.
Lisa Loeb is
Which
singing along.
It's one of those things with this show. I mean, there was more of a natural, like, this would have been a long scene if it was one thing. But it's just one of those things with this show where we've established that they divide up scenes
That should be one
sometimes
scene.
unnaturally. They divide up scenes that should be one scene. What that leads to sometimes is they'll do like 2 scenes, like here, where they do the big reveal scene and then the Kirk Cameron scene. And then they cut back to the same action, still continuing. And you're like, how long has she been singing this song?
Yeah,
I
it's
figured
weird.
they didn't want to repeat the song because they sang it in a previous episode.
Oh, yeah.
But
Probably,
it
but like-
it does have an unintentional side effect.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. Like, it's very nice. Like, Lisa Loeb starts singing along. It's very nice. But like, if the previous scene ended with Steph starting to sing the song and then they cut away. If the previous scene had ended with that, Steph is singing, they cut away, and this scene starts with like, so what did you think of the song? It wouldn't feel like Steph has been singing this song for 10 minutes.
Yeah, you're right.
Instead, they cut back to the same action.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying, so what did you think of the song is a great way to start a scene.
Yeah.
But
anyway, Lisa Loeb is absolutely in love with this song and invites Steph immediately to go on tour with her as her opening act.
Yeah, that's
which is wow.
Can we talk about Steph's career arc for a second?
Yeah, because like
here's what happens with Steph.
She headlined Coachella in season 1.
Yeah, in season 1, she's headlining Coachella. She's a world famous DJ. Then she becomes an assistant party planner.
Yeah.
Then she becomes a children's performer at parties. Or no. She writes a song that like goes viral online because they put babies over it.
They put a baby in a dog. Yeah.
They put a baby in a dog. Then she becomes a children's entertainer. She's a children's entertainer for a while. Then she decides, no, I'm going to make my own music again. And now she's opening for Lisa Loeb.
Yeah.
Just wow.
Yeah.
You'd think this is the complete opposite progression of how it would happen.
Yeah, it's so weird.
You should probably end with famous DJ.
Yeah.
Start with I am unemployed.
It's one of those things where it's like they've made Steph like really successful at the start of the show, and they're like, you know what? Let's make her not successful, and then make her work her way back up to the top. And it's like, I mean, then why is I don't know.
Well, she had to start from the bottom as a songwriter.
But guys, we're forgetting about the most important part of this scene.
Of
because
course.
Once Steph is done and gets the offer to headline, now it's Matt's turn to perform for Lisa Loeb.
Yep.
Yay!
And he brings out his puppet friend, Oliver. And Oliver is wonderful.
Yeah, we really wanted Oliver to be like Oliver Twist, Dickensian orphan.
Yeah, like Cockney accent.
He's just not.
Yeah.
It's me, Oliver.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that essentially.
Yeah.
Not like Giuseppe.
But instead he's just like he looks exactly like Matt.
Yeah.
Which is also very good.
It's just puppet Matt.
It's puppet Matt. Matt is not a good ventriloquist. His lips are moving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the entire time everyone's just kind of like everyone's just kind of staring at him like, what the fuck are you doing right now?
Yeah, I did like when he's like, Oliver, don't embarrass me in front of Lisa Loeb. And he's like, you're doing a pretty good job of that yourself.
Ayo.
Classic ventriloquism
Classic
humor.
Oliver.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's really nice once you get to know him, I swear. And then he like leaves because they're like, Matt, you just go. He's like, all right, fine. And then he puts the dummy over his thing. It's like, no, don't put me back in the box.
Don't
Then
put me in the
DJ
box.
gets really excited. Lisa Loeb roasts DJ for getting really excited. And then Stephanie is excited because now she has a job.
Yes.
Yep. Steph has a job and a pretty good job.
Yeah.
Anyway, then we go, guys, back to the house. Fernando is beside himself. He misses Kimmy. He doesn't know where she is. A Ferrari pulls up in the driveway and Kirk Cameron drops her off. We don't see him. She just walks into the house.
Yeah.
Fernando jumps on the couch and pretends to read a magazine. The magazine is upside down, which is a nice touch. And turns out he knows about all her dates and knows how much she was hitting it off with Kirk Cameron because he was spying on her the whole time.
Yes. It's also very fun because, like, he has a different disguise for every date, which he didn't need to do that. All the dates were at the same restaurant, at the same table.
They were at the same restaurant, at the same table. Presumably, each date was, like, waiting outside. Kimmy was either there for, like, 4 hours waiting for 3 guys, or they were just, like, waiting in a line outside for when she went next.
Oh my god. This is the weirdest dating app I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So like he starts off and he's in a painting.
He's in a painting. He replaces his face.
Yeah, he like puts his face in the painting. In the second one, he just has a suit of armor on. In the third one, which is actually a pretty nice touch, he's one of the cops that takes the guy away. And I went back after we finished the episode to see like, oh, could we even like see Fernando there? Because there's like 2 cops to take him off, and there's one cop that's like, you're under arrest for, you know, racketeering and all that other stuff. And then the other one's just kind of there to take him away, and we never see his face because it's Fernando.
Yep.
So,
and then for Kirk Cameron, he's just dressed as a waiter.
Yeah, he's just a waiter.
I do have an issue with this because when you have a joke, you want to heighten it, and I feel like it heightens in the opposite direction.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I feel like
it should have gone. Fernando is dressed as a waiter. That's his disguise in a restaurant. Fernando is dressed as a police officer or an FBI agent, whatever it was, to arrest this guy. Still dressed as a person.
Yeah.
Fernando is in a suit of armor, just waiting, and then Fernando has fully cut the face out of a painting and stuck his face in. He's in the walls. Like that's the order it should be heightening in.
Yeah.
And also, it would be very funny if his like melancholy realization of like, oh, Kimmy seems really happy with Kirk Cameron. Maybe she doesn't love me. Was with his face in a painting.
Yeah, instead of just like him standing there watching them as a waiter who's like hidden in plain sight, essentially.
He slowly backs out of the painting.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Anyway, yeah, I just felt like that was the opposite direction of how they should have heightened.
Yeah, I agree. But, you know, Kimmy realizes that, you know, even though she loved hanging out with Kirk Cameron, who she really loves is Fernando.
Yep. He's the one for her, and it's very sweet, genuinely, and they smooch.
Mm-hmm.
They do a smooch, they do a kiss. DJ and Stephanie walk in, and DJ's like, "Did you know Jason Bateman is doing donuts in the driveway?" And then Kirk Cameron comes in and says, "I'm Kirk Cameron."
He just breaks into their house. I see, this is why you shouldn't leave the door always open, because you'll get strange men like Kirk Cameron breaking into your house to say, "I'm Kirk Cameron," and then leave.
Yeah.
So good.
Anyway.
And that's how the episode ends.
That's the episode.
Which, this episode had so much going on. It was a weird one.
You know what it also had a lot of?
A lot of sad boys.
A lot of sad boys.
Let's talk about them in Sad Boy of the Week. I feel like we have a lot of nominees, right?
I
like
genuinely can think of like at least 4 that I want to throw out there.
There's a lot. I know, like, we gotta do Matt. We gotta do Steve.
I think Fernando can count.
I was gonna say Fernando as well, possibly.
Fernando. I look, just the B and thumb is silent line. I think J Money deserves a nom.
Yeah.
Rocky?
I
Do you want to do like Rocky?
I don't know.
Because Rocky seems
throw out Rocky.
I feel like if we're doing J Money just for the B and thumb line, I feel like we should have.
I do think there's a little more to J Money.
Okay, but I mean, it's more so just because Rocky is confronted with her former D&D partner and is very embarrassed to admit that she has played D&D and is very insecure about it.
We can throw Rocky on there, and I do have one more nomination.
Okay,
well, let's do this. Let's do them like lightning round fast.
Yeah, lightning round.
Boy, because this is gonna be like 6 nominees or something.
Yeah. By the way, my last nominee, Oliver.
Oh yeah.
I thought you were gonna say Lisa Loeb, but
no, Oliver.
Oliver. Okay, go
Lisa
through
Loeb
lightning
was not
round.
a sad boy.
Lightning
She
round.
was too put together.
J Money is immediately asked, "Hey, what's up?" And he says, "Well, I was just thinking about how the B in thumb is silent." And Ethan immediately responds, "You're a weird kid." Weird.
Yeah, very weird.
There's also the moment where he just repeats verbatim what Ramona has just said as if he's having an epiphany.
Yes. He's too stupid to listen to her.
He's too stupid to listen to her. I think that's mainly his deal. I don't know if there's much else. Mm-hmm. He kept the secret about playing D&D from his girlfriend, but I think it's more thumb and
thumb.
But or, you know, There's Rocky, who is confronted with her old D&D partner and poorly lies about it. Oh, we don't know each other. And then the truth is dropped on her, and she's revealed to have always been a huge nerd. But she takes the opportunity to out Ramona for liking the Emoji Movie.
So
Also,
perfect.
one more nomination, Ramona. She likes the Emoji Movie.
She likes the emoji.
Yeah.
That is pretty sad.
Yeah. Matt is maybe the world's biggest Lisa Loeb fan.
Yes. Almost creepily so.
He calls himself a Loeb trotter.
Oh, God.
I love it. He messes up DJ's plan by giving the cleaning himself. And he's just like, what? You said we're doing a deal with the cleaning, so I gave the cleaning. She texted me that she did it early. Yeah, we text.
Hashtag Matt did nothing wrong.
Matt did nothing wrong. I love it so much. We also find out he is a ventriloquist.
But is not good at it.
He's not good at it at all.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, Matt, you're not a good ventriloquist. But just that he's immediately like, ooh, let me get my ventriloquist dummy, Oliver. That's Matt. That's Matt. Fernando acts like he doesn't mind that Kimmy's going to start seeing other people. But he very much minds. So he puts on a series of elaborate disguises
Like
to spy on her in the
Shakespearean
restaurant.
comedy. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then is like, I guess I'll leave you to be with your childhood crush, Kirk Cameron. Yeah, but Fernando was in a painting. And that is important.
Yes, very important.
Yeah.
Is it just Steve and Oliver now?
Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
Oliver, really simple. He is a ventriloquist dummy. And he is put against his will into a box, screaming, "No, don't put me into the box!"
Yeah.
As he's dragged away. Steve is summoned away from his work to go hang out with a child,
Yes.
and solve a mystery. He gets roasted for his trench coat again and again and again. Max steals his sandwich and throws it out immediately.
And then they insult him for being old.
They insult him for being old. They insult him for liking the Emoji Movie. And they insult his trench coat some more to the point where he's like, I don't know why I wanted to hang out with you guys. I think those are all the cases. I think I have a vote.
I have a
already.
vote too.
Oh,
I thought about
do
it
your
a bit,
votes
and
too.
I'm very conflicted, but I have a vote.
Okay, you guys say your votes first because I'm still a bit conflicted. I don't have a full-on answer yet.
I vote Steve.
Me too.
Okay, I feel like, if you guys are both voting Steve, I'll vote one vote for Matt because I think he deserves a vote, but Steve wins.
Steve wins.
Matt is very good.
He got bullied so much, and he's just trying to have a good day.
He's just taking so many L's. It's so funny.
Yeah, I think Steve deserves the win.
It's just wearing him down so much.
Guys,
It's basically the definition. He's very sad. He's very funny.
I have an announcement on the standings.
Okay.
Because with this win, Steve now moves into a tie for second place.
Damn.
I believe.
With Steph?
Unless Tyler updated it already and was just very fast. Oh, sorry. He goes into third. Sorry. In that big tie for third.
Gotcha.
How dare you, Zay?
I'm sorry. Tyler's very quick at updating the spreadsheet. Still very much behind J Money, but he's catching up. Matt is also having all of his sad boy moments at the end of the show, which I'm here for.
Yes.
And I love it. But this one is Steve.
So sad. So good.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Harrison, you want to take us home?
Yeah, thank you everybody for listening. If you want to hear more of us, come to Fullest House Pod on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram for updates about our show. This has been great. I'm Harrison Bloom.
I'm Zach Horowitz.
And I'm Mark Greene.
And until next time, may your houses be fuller, and just one more thing. I'm Kirk Cameron!